UiPath has got two design experiences. One is the classic and the other is the modern design experience. As an RPA developer, we should know both the experiences, how to use what. In this playlist, we are covering the classic versus the modern design in a step-by-step manner where we are focusing more on the modern design. In the previous videos of the playlist, we have covered already all of these topics. In case you are absolutely new to modern design and you want to get started, you can refer to the playlist and get started. Next in the object repository, we are going to discuss about the manual creation of the object repository. In the previous two videos, we have already seen what exactly is object repository, how does it work, why it is important, how we can use it in the same project and in different project. And in the last video, we have seen that what is the structure of the object repository. So in case you haven't already watched the previous two videos, I would request you to please watch the previous videos so that this video would have more context for you. This would be our agenda for today. We are going to have a quick recap of the object repository structure because that is important for this video. Next, we are going to see how you can manually create an object repository, how you can edit the descriptors, how you can resolve the UI descriptors online and offline. And lastly, we are going to see how we can work with highlighting elements in the object repository. Okay, so this would be our agenda for today. In case you are coming to the channel for the first time and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the next videos in the same playlist. That is free for you, but it helps me to grow my YouTube channel. Having said that, let's get started. So first thing first, what exactly is object repository, right? As in the previous video, we have already seen, in case a developer wants to create a repository of the descriptors of all the UI elements and share it across to the team so that they can use it in the same project or a different automation project, we create something which is called object repository, which is a DOM-like repository shareable across the projects, right? Then we have seen how does it work. So we have an option which is called capture elements. You simply point it to the screen and you just keep clicking on the elements and just doing the actions and the repository is automatically created for you. This is same like a recorder in UiPath Studio. And in the last video, we have seen that how do you locate where exactly is which element, right? So the first one is the application, then you have the screen. Inside the screen, you have the UI elements, and then all the UI elements has something which is called the properties, which you can customize. And all of this is called a UI hierarchy, right? So all of this is we have explained in the detailed video. But till this point, all of this thing was done with the help of a recorder option. Let's say I do not want to have a recorder option and I want to have a more control on creating the repository. Can I do that? The answer to that question is yes. And that's where comes the manual creation of a repository. Let me show it to you by a quick demo that how you can create a repository by yourself. For that, let's go back to the UiPath Studio. Okay, so I am back into my UiPath Studio and I have a blank project with me. If I go to the object repository, I don't have anything at all, right? So I'll just go and pin the object repository here. Now I have an application which is available, which is the WI application, right? You can continue the same with the help of a notepad as well. Okay. So now if you see, this application is something, let's say, which multiple developers have to use and they have to do the same set of operations. So we go ahead and we create the object repository. Now when you see here, this has a deposit, then if I click on the withdrawal, you would see that the layout changes and now this is a deposit, this is a withdrawal, and similarly you have different screen. So let's say I am the developer 1 or I am the lead developer and I am creating something for my team to reuse. So how do I create it? One option is definitely to use recording, but that does not give you much of the control. So we'll go today and start exploring the manual creating of the object repository. So in the object repository, we have to click on this button, which is the plus button, and the recording we do it with this one, which we see in the last video. So for the manual creation, you will come here and you click on this plus button. This is going to ask you which application you want to create the repository for. So for me, this is the application. The name of the application is WI. So you can just write here WI. Now what is the version of the application? You can mention it. We are creating it for the first time, so I leave it to the 1.1, and in the description I say that this is the WI application, and just hit create application. Okay, now you would see nothing happened fancy, but in the project UI descriptors you have something which is called the WI. Okay, what is the next thing? Inside the application, if you remember our structure which we discussed, the next thing we need to add is a screen. Now what is a screen for us? So let's say this is the first screen which we want to use, which is the deposit screen, and then we want to do something on the withdrawal screen as well. Okay, so I'll go to the WI, right click on it, and then I have something which is called the capture screen. Remember, I am not doing the capture elements, I am doing the create a screen. I am going to create my own screen, and then it is asking me what do you want to call the screen. So I'm going to call this screen as, let's say this was, let me quickly check, deposit, right? So first one is deposit, so I'll just rename it to deposit, and I say that deposit screen of WI. Next you have two options. You can directly go here and say create the screen, or you can simply indicate it on the screen, right? So what is the difference? So the difference is, let's say I simply go here and I click on this button which says create the screen. Now the application is created, the screen is created. However, this application does not know where is the WI. I haven't pointed it. So if I haven't pointed it, this guy also does not know that where exactly is the deposit screen, right? So this is like just creating a template of it. So let's say after this one, I want to create the withdrawal screen. So you can just create it like this, or the other way is when you are creating the screen, let's say for the second one, which is the withdrawal. Okay, one way was that I just created the deposit, it does not have anything, DRAWL withdrawal. So I'll just go here and I'll say this is the withdrawal screen. Now if I just create it, it will come as the same screen. The other way is when you are adding the screen, UiPath object repository provide you an option to directly indicate the screen by using this hyperlink kind of thing which is called the indicate screen, and you can point it directly to the screen which you want to add. So in our case it is the withdrawal. So I'll go to my WI application, take it to the withdrawal screen, and I'll just go back to my this one which is the add screen wizard, and this time I'm not directly creating the screen, whereas I am adding the descriptors also. So I'll just go here and I'll say add a screen, and now I'll point it to this one which is the withdrawal screen, right? See here, notice I switched it to the withdrawal thing, and then I select this screen. One thing to note here is that this is saying select the application, because till now we didn't told UiPath that which application we are integrating with, right? So it has got the screenshot, it has got the descriptor. You have this option directly here which is the edit application descriptor. Click on that and you can edit the descriptors like application path, match the title, all of that you can do it here, right? I say okay, and then I simply click on this button which is the create screen. Now once the screen is created, you would see the difference in the icons. This one has got the descriptor details with it, that's why it is available here, whereas deposit is just a blank screen, it does not have anything. Now to add data to the deposit screen, you can simply right click on it, and then you have something which is called indicate the descriptors, right? So that is how you add data to the descriptors. Okay, so now I'll go back to the deposit here, and then from here I'll just right click on it and say indicate the descriptor and point it to my deposit screen, and that's it. Now deposit screen also have the same set of icons, right? Now we have the application. Inside the application we have two screen, one is the deposit, one is the withdrawal. Now next, what do you want to do? So let's say in the deposit screen, as a UiPath developer, I want to type something on the cash in and cash out, and then let's say simply click on the accept button, whereas in the withdrawal I want to do the check in and then I click on the accept. Okay, so something I want to do. So first I'll go to the deposit screen, and now inside this, if you remember the structure as we discussed, after the screen then we have something which is called the UI elements. Okay, so now I'll right click on the deposit screen again, and then it is asking me to create the element. What do you want to do? So I'll go here and I'll say create the elements. Now this is not the recording, guys, this is the adding of the element. So it says create a new element in the screen to group all the UI descriptor that identify the same element. Okay, so I'll go here and I'll say that this one I am creating it for, let's say, what is the first thing, let me quickly check, cache in. So I'll just say that this is my cache in. I'll leave it to the default setting, which is the element, and then this I'll say that this is the cache in input. Same concept, indicate the element, and I'll point it to this one, which is the cache in. Okay, now again all the concept of modern repository, modern design are applicable here as well. You can add an anchor, right? Now you have the same screen which you get while you are doing the UI automation, right? So not spending much time here, I just go here and I say confirm. Okay, so cache in is added. You have an option to edit the descriptors, and then you simply click on this button, which is save. And now inside the deposit you have an element which is the cache in. Okay, but now if you see here, we didn't told it that yes, it is a type into activity or it is a click activity, because that is done when we use this repository, right? Similarly, after that, what we want to do in the deposit, I wanted to have one more. Let's say I'll simply go and say create the element, and I'll point it to the submit button, the accept button, like this. Okay, and then I just say confirm. Okay, and it takes me that, and this is my accept button. This will come as element here, right? And then I say that this is the accept button, and I just save this. And now you would see that inside the deposit screen I have two things. Now similarly, let's quickly add it for the withdrawal as well. In the withdrawal, I'll just do one check-in and then I'll click on the accept. Okay, so in the withdrawal, I just right click and say create an element, and then this is cache in, and I'll just say withdrawal, right? It's called the cache in only, right? I guess, yeah, no, sorry, check one, my bad. So it is the check one for withdrawal. Just wanted to make sure that it is from the withdrawal screen, right? DRAWL. So withdrawal, and then I'll say indicate on the element and point it to the check one. With this approach, you have an option to edit all this element descriptor, everything, right? I just say confirm. I just say anchor because that's what it is recommending me, right? And I just say confirm. Okay, save this, and let's quickly add one more element, which is the submit withdrawal. Okay, and I'll just say this is the submit for withdrawal. Indicate the element, and I'll point it to this one, which is the accept button, and confirm it. Save, and that's it. This completes our creation of the project UI descriptors manually. Okay, so let's say I simply want to do something on the deposit, and I want to do one action on the withdrawal. Okay, so from the repository which we just created, if I want to use it in the same project, you simply go to the repository which you just created and just drag and drop. What do you want to do? I want to do something on the deposit screen. I drag and drop it here, and it's created. All this applications path, everything is coming from the application. Okay, now once that is done, what do you want to do? Let's say I simply want to, in the deposit screen, I want to do the cache in, right? So I go here and I use this one, which is the cache in, drag and drop it here inside this, and then now it is asking you what type of activity is this, right? So I know that this is a type, so I go here and I select the type into, because when I was creating it, I just told it as a element, right? Now it is asking you what do you want to type here. So I want to type some value, let's say 2000. And now next I want to use something on the withdrawal screen. Okay, so I can simply drag and drop the withdrawal screen here like this, and it will simply add it. But if as you think as a developer, right, the first one is already pointing to the this one. If I just keep my mouse here like this, right, this is already pointing to my WI application, which means that the WI is already tagged. And then after that, do you again want to go and again attach the application? Will this work? The answer to that question is yes. But should you do it? The answer to that question is no, right? Because you are already inside the same container. So rather what you would like to do is you first want to click on this deposit button and then drag and drop these activities here, right? So now clicking on this, we haven't added it to the repository, so you can do it by directly adding the activity here, or when you are creating the repository, then you can also create that button of switching it, right? So I am in the cache in, so now you have to think as a developer. You are in this one deposit, you type the cache in here, and now you want to go to the withdrawal screen. But now if I take the withdrawal screen, it is again going to attach. So rather what I would like to do is I would like to take a click activity, and this shows that you can use the normal activity also with the object repository. Indicate on the deposit screen, and I'll point it to this one, which is the withdrawal. Okay, and I just say confirm. Okay, and then when it is on the withdrawal screen, then I would simply like to use this one, which is the check withdrawal here. And then what is that check withdrawal? That is a type. So now it's a type into, and in the check withdrawal, which is this one, what do you want to type? So let's say here I want to type 5000. So in the first one it is 2000 and then it is 5000, right? And then let's say we simply want to click on this accept button. So I don't have to create the selector. I can just drag and drop it here. And this is a click, right? So what is the concept which you realized here? The concept is you have created the repository, but the developer should understand that what we are trying to do, and you can also embed your own activity just like I did here, which was this one, click withdrawal. I'll save this, I'll take it back to the deposit. Okay, and let's try to run it in a debug mode so that we able to understand, right? So I put a breakpoint here, and let's go here and I'll say debug the file. Okay, so I want to show you in a step-by-step manner. So this, we have created a manual repository. We try to use it in the same project. The same concept will work if you try to export and use it in a different project as well. Okay, so my automation has started. Okay, it is on the deposit screen. It says type into the cache in 2000. I'll say step into 2000 is typed. Then we have this activity which we manually placed, which is the withdrawal. Step into, it clicked on the withdrawal. Now this guy is coming from object repository, which is the 5000. And then this is the submit withdrawal, which should click on this guy, which is the accept. And it's submitted, right? You can see this 5000 something done here. And then I can simply click on continue, right? So that is how you can use these thing which you have created, and also you have to introduce. But one thing we need to realize is that when you create a repository by yourself, you need to also take care of the navigations, right? So same like this, if I would have directly drag and drop it inside it, it would be a kind of a nested container. And since you are in the same application, it does not make sense to again attach that application, right? So make sure that when you create the object repository, you also take care of the navigations, that how you are going to navigate from one screen to the other screen, right? So that was the whole idea of creating the object repository by yourself. In case you clearly understood the concept, just comment down manual creation and I would understand that yes, you guys understood the concept. I'll wait for your comment and let's move forward now. Okay, so that was a quick demo on creating and using the manual creation of the object repository. Next, we have something which is called the descriptors editing. So descriptors can be edited from object repository. So we have created all those descriptors, right? But it won't always work 100% as we have expected or as we have coded. There would be chances where we want to do editing of these descriptors. So there are two kind of editing options, guys, which are available. One is the online editing and the other is the offline editing. The online editing simply means that the application or the browser which we have used is available for me at that moment. At that time I can simply go and use the concept of online editing, which means that you can edit it, you can see it, highlight it. And then the other one is called the offline editing, which simply means that you don't have the access to the application but you want to do it offline. So object repository allows you to do the offline editing as well. While editing the descriptors, please note that both the fuzzy selectors and the actual selectors in your descriptors can be edited by using the UI Explorer, which is also available for you during the editing, right? Understood the concept? Two kinds of editing, online and editing, online and offline. Let's go back to UiPath Studio and see that in action to understand this more. Okay, so back to my UiPath Studio, and now let's say we created something and then there is an issue. And now this check withdrawal, or let's say, is not working, right? Let's say this check withdrawal, which is this one, is not working and we need to update the selectors or we want to do something, right? You can simply right click on it and you have an option which is called the edit the descriptor now. So I want to edit the descriptor, and this will open the same wizard for you, which is this one. Like this, we have added the target and we have added the anchor as well, right? Now here, let's say we want to edit it, you want to customize the selector, you can do that here. All these buttons are exactly the same thing which we have discussed in the UiPath actual modern playlist, right? What does this do? This will open in the UI Explorer. What is this? What is this? What is this? All of that we have already seen, right? So you can click on all of this and you can edit the descriptors here, right? Let's say for this element, I simply want the strict selector to have one more check. So I'll just put a star mark here, and then it has this question mark. As we have seen, I can click on this button, which is validate. It still shows that yes, it is valid, right? All these buttons we have already explained, so not going here. And then once we have done, you can simply click on this one, which is the confirm. So what I have just done is online editing. The screen was available for me, but let's say sometime the screen is not available for you and you are working on a different screen. Then at the time you can do something which is called the offline editing. So I'll just close this. I'll go here, right click on it, and I say edit the descriptor. And now the target is not available with me, right? So I'll just minimize this. Okay, yeah. I'll just expand it. Now the target is not available because I manually closed it. So now if you see at the top, it says that target app is not found, editing in the offline mode. In case the application is already open and this guy is not able to find, you can click here to indicate it. Otherwise you can just go here and do the offline editing. So let's say I just want to add some wildcards to the selector like this. I hope you guys understand what is wildcard. Already discussed way back in the selector videos, right? So selectors, fuzzy selector, I have just added two wildcards and I just say save. So this is what I have done, is called a offline editing. So there are two kinds of editing, online and offline. Online means the application is open in front of you in the screen. You can just go and edit it. The offline simply means that you don't have access to that applications. Okay. And still you can go ahead and able to edit it. Once this is done, you can simply click on this one, which is refresh, just to refresh this. This does not make sense here because this is local. But let's say in case you have deployed it as we did in the first video and use it and then you refreshes, then you can use this one, which is the refresh button. Okay. So that was a quick demo on the online and the offline editing. Please remember that you have both these options available. Next, there is something which is called the resolve UI descriptors, and these are some of the options which you might get when you are working with the UI object repository. So Let's say there is a scenario where the object repository already had some element which is reference. Let's say the withdrawal screen and the check one, or the deposit screen or the cash in and the accept button. We already have that. Now let's say you again are trying to add the screen and add the same element with the same configuration. So UiPath object repository is smart enough to understand that yes, this is already available in the repository. Do you want to create it, or do you want to reuse the existing one? Now this option will pop up for you on the screen, and then you can simply choose whatever you want to do. The concept is simple. If there is something which is already available in the object repository and you are trying to recreate it, it should not create, and it will ask you these options, right? So this is just an element pop-up. So whenever you get, you just need to understand that yes, I have this already referenced in my repository and I want to reuse it, I want to create it, or I simply want to cancel this operation, right? So this is how you can resolve the UI descriptors to avoid having the duplicates in the descriptor window. Okay. The next option which is available for you in the object repository is the highlight element. So people who are coming from the selector background in the modern repository, we have this option which is called the highlight, where as a developer you can see that where exactly my element is located. This is also helpful when, let's say, I share this repository to somebody else and they wanted to see that where exactly is this element, right? So this you can simply do by using the highlight elements. How does it work? Let me quickly show that to you in the app. I can go here and you can see that these are all these buttons which I have. I am the withdrawal screen. So in the submit withdrawal, let's say this is a very big application and I forgot where is this locating to. I right click on it and then you have this option which is called the highlight, and then you would see that it is highlighting by green that where exactly is this thing. You can click on this check withdrawal and I say highlight, and that would be able to find, right? The only check here would be that you need to be on that screen. It will not automatically go. So let's say I am on the withdrawal screen and now I want to highlight something on the deposit screen. So I go to the cash in and I say highlight. It won't be able to highlight, could not find the target, right? Because you are on the deposit, but you are on the withdrawal. But if I go to the deposit screen and then I go here and I say highlight, then it would be able to highlight that element. Okay, so that's the options which is readily available for you, which is called the highlight. Okay, so all these other options, delete, copy, cut, paste, are exactly the same. Highlight we have seen, edit element, edit descriptor, create element are exactly the same. And then you have something which is called the find references. Important thing, click on that find references and now it will show you where exactly you have used in these in your automation, right? So cash in I have used here, that's why it is showing you that Mukesh you have used it here. Let's say I want to see where exactly I have used this one, so I can right click on it and I say find references. Exactly the same thing we used to do with variables and arguments. The same concept is applicable here as well, showing you that you have got it here in the options. Wherever it is found, just double click on it and UiPath Studio will directly take you where in the automation you have used these references, right? In case you have used it 2-3 times, all those lists would appear here. How cool is that, right? Okay, so that was all about creating the repository and using it by yourself. I just have an assignment for you guys which I want you to do is, once you have created the repository yourself, try to publish it as a UI library project and use it in a different project, right? How we have to do it, we have seen in the first video. So first video we recorded and then we used it. The steps are exactly the same. So here I want to give you an assignment, guys, that create a UI library by yourself, export it as a UI library project and use it in a new project, right? So that will clear your concepts on reusing it again. Okay, so that is it I wanted to cover in this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well, right? In case this video was helpful, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video of the object repository. Thank you for watching and happy automation. Okay, so that is all for this video. I would like to wrap this video here. I hope this was insightful. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well. I would appreciate your feedback on the video, and tell me in the comments what would be the next topic or next video you want to see. So with that, I would wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.